We had talked about a toolkit. The end destination is a toolkit, which might have a lot of components in it. What we've got at the moment is the reflection tool. That's what you guys were generating the questions for. And we've got some suggestions around process, but there may be other components. So the purpose statement here is about the reflection tool, just the one component of the toolkit. So the purpose of the ECD quality reflection tool is to help practitioners, and there's a whole range of people who may be meant by this term, and I will come back to that issue, including caregivers, trainers, and other stakeholders, to think about quality in ECD in terms of how quality is made up of different aspects or different dimensions. It's not just one thing. How these aspects look different in different contexts. That was our kind of aha moment. And how thinking about quality can support good practices. This whole idea of reflecting on your own practice and reflecting on your own context, but bringing the notion of quality into that context. Okay, so that's the purpose of the tool. And as I say, this purpose statement goes through various formulations and different language and so on, and it's not the end one yet. At the moment, what we have is something with two components, the reflection tool itself and the start of some process guidelines, which we want to look at in a bit more detail today. Okay? So essentially, this process is aimed at helping the sector answer the question, what is quality ECD provision in practice? What does it mean if we talk about quality provision? And it's in practice, we do need to understand that there are many different contexts of ECD. And I think this has been a theme that's come up all day today so far, actually, in terms of the diversity and the different angles and the different perspectives. And ECD means so many different things to different people and works in so many different ways and at different levels. And I think this is why it's so hard to actually deal with this, because there's no such thing as ECD. Okay. So there's a kind of the next formulation of a purpose statement, which people can give feedback on as well. Right, if you remember the dimensions that we had generated from the very, very first meeting, they've gone through a couple of changes from the various processes, but we still have these sort of fundamental dimensions. There's a new one there, leadership and management. But we said if you're going to talk about quality ECD, you need to talk about having quality practitioners. You need to talk about having quality leadership and management. A whole new set of issues came up from the ECDI forum around leadership and management and quality assurance and sustainability and so on. You need to talk about a quality environment, whatever that might mean for different contexts. You need to talk about quality support systems, and you need to talk about quality resources. Those are our dimensions. And there are those two versions of the background documents. The first one had a little suitcase thing, and the second one's got lots of bubbles with these dimensions. So that's what we have now got as our quality dimensions in the tool. Then we had a whole set of questions in that last meeting. We took those dimensions and we asked people to formulate questions. And what we did in with the action group was look through some of those questions and say, there's a lot of repetition, there's a lot of clustering. What we need to do is work through them and bring out the elements. So if we're talking about quality practitioners, what does this mean? What things? Where do some of the self-reflection questions fit? And we came up with this notion of each dimension has a number of elements. Okay? What's the whole toolkit going to look like? So we've got a reflection tool with questions under those dimensions, and we've got a sense of process guidelines. What do we do with this tool? Who do we give it to? How do people use these reflection questions? Do they just sit and read it? That's going to be very problematic, especially for a lot of practitioners. They need to be mediated. This was an issue we discussed in the last COP about what kind of process would be needed, and we talked a bit more about it in the action group, and this is all very much sort of like in process. So that what we want to do is say, here's a reflection tool with various questions, and here are some process guidelines about how to use this reflection tool. Okay? So this becomes now part of this toolkit, the second component of the toolkit.